Hi guys, it's Jordan from P&P Campers. I'm just going to be doing a handover video on this Chausson Flash. So it's a Flash 04. It doesn't mean it's 2004, it's actually a 61 plate, so that's late 2011, sorry. So Chausson Flash 04, this particular one has the height adjustable rear bed. Okay, and it's height adjustable by using this little handle just here and literally just twisting it on here. It takes no effort at all to spin this up and down, and that will adjust the height of the bed here at the back, giving you more or less space in the garage. So you can do that as you please. I'll show you through the layout of the van in a minute, but what I'll do is I'll just show you around the outside and then under the bonnet, and then we'll get onto the inside after that. So, first locker we get to on the outside is our gas locker. So, in this particular gas locker, I'm just going to pop this little cover back on because I've obviously forgotten that. In this particular gas locker, you have got 6 kilo propane bottle just here. Now, you have got space in here for a 13 kilo if you want one, but the 6 kilos do tend to last quite a long time anyway. To turn the bottle on, go anti-clockwise around to the left like so until it stops, and to turn it off clockwise all the way down around to the right until it stops. So that is, super easy to do that. This little thing just here is just our testing point, so you haven't got to do anything with that. And then the other thing that's here is the pigtail hose. You've got till 29 to replace that because you get 5 years on those pigtails. So yeah, all good. I've actually just put a new one on there, so that's why it's so new. The habitation door has got a little locking point just at the back there. It won't go at the moment because I've got the locker open, but you have got a catch just up there to hold it open nice and tight. In the cab, just before I forget, I'll just pop you through into the cab quickly so we can see what's going on in here. So the cab itself is actually a really good spec. These Fords do tend to get a nice spec anyway, but this particular one has been spec'd up quite nicely. So over on the right hand side, we've got your electric adjusting mirrors. So you basically just select which mirror you want to move and then move the little thing around here like a little joystick, and it will just move the mirror to wherever you want it to go to. We've then got your lights from that switch just there. Oh, I'll put that back on in a minute. And your headlight adjustments from there. On the actual steering wheel itself, you have got your cruise control from these two here, and these are also to do with the cruise control. Resume, set, and then you can adjust your speed with these two. To the left of that, we've got your, these are all to do with the original stereo, so you can just change the volume, mode, and you can seek through different channels as well with the little thing on the back. 6-speed manual gearbox. These did come in a 5-speed as well, so it's quite nice to be on the 6-speed. Hazard lights from here, heated windscreen from this little button just here. Now this is a Ford thing. I believe it was an optional extra, I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, so you got the heated windscreen there. You'll probably be able to see on the video just about the little sort of wiggly lines on the windscreen. So if it comes to winter time and you're all frozen up and all that sort of thing, it takes a lot less time to defrost it using your heated windscreen as it would with a normal car with the blowing the air to it. You got the double din sized head unit here. Now this is pretty basic, so I don't really go through these, to be honest. Down here you've got all of your heater controls. The button on the left hand side, you'll see it says AC on it, so you have to press the button in to get the aircon to come on and off. And that's about it really for the cab. There's not really much else to show you, so just thought I'd show you that just as I'm sort of going around the outside. I'll get to the inside in just a minute, as I said. So the next two things that we get to just here are your 2 fridge vents. So if you have any issues with the fridge, I can tell you for a fact that at the moment there is nothing wrong with the fridge and it's working perfectly. But if you do ever have any issues, you can pop these covers off here and that'll give you good access to the back of the fridge. Now you can, if you want to double check that the gas is definitely working on the fridge, you can put your hand over here on the top vent and you'll feel warm air coming out through that if it's lit. So that's just a way to double check that it's definitely working, basically. Now behind the garage door, we've got your electric hookup point. Okay, so that's really handy to have plugged in because it means that you you know, your battery charger comes to life, and it means you haven't got to worry about any voltages and stuff like that. Also means you'll be able to use any of your mains powered appliances, which I'll go through with you inside the van. This vent just here is to do with the boiler. So if you've got the boiler lit up on gas, you'll be able to feel warm air coming out through here. And make sure that you will have a little cover for this somewhere in the van. So make sure that you have it off like this before you start trying to use it. Now underneath here, I don't know if you saw it on the video or not, but we have got a little sign behind this saying wastewater. And that is because your wastewater drain off point is this handle just here. So I'm just basically going to show you, when I pull on this, if you have a little look. So I did it very, very briefly. But yeah, so basically just pull on that handle there and it will release the wastewater from the van. So in the garage itself, we've got your trip switches. So this is all just to do with the mains hookup. So if you do plug the hookup cable in and you can't get anything to work, make sure that they're all in the upright position. Also on this particular van, we have just fitted an awning as well. So this is a brand new Fiamma wind out awning. So it's just just to point out that we do fit these things. Got another one just here ready to go onto another vehicle. So yeah, Fiamma wind out awning just there. That's a 3 meter awning and it fits in there really, really nicely. Looks really nice. You've got the 4-bike rack on the back of this van as well. I did find that when we were doing the hab checks, some of the bits and pieces on there hadn't been put on correctly, so I have had to take it apart and put it back together as they're supposed to be. So that's all sorted now. Any jobs that I've done on the van, I will just sort of go through with you when we get inside as well, just so that you know. Right, so this is just another access point to the garage, so I'm not going to show you into that. It's just the same as the other side. Next locker we get to, and actually the last locker we've got here, is your toilet cassette locker. So to remove the actual toilet cassette, you lift up on the little orange handle just here, and then pull the cassette towards you. Once you've got it to this point here, you'll then be able to take it all the way out and take it to wherever you need to take it to. These more modern ones, the orange ones, have got a little handle just here that you can pull out to wheel it along with. Now basically, all you need to know from here is that twist this open and drain out from here. So you just take this cap off and drain the cassette from there. When you're physically draining it out, you need to be holding down the little orange button at the back to release a little bit of pressure, basically. That's all it does. Once you've emptied it out, 1 cap's worth of your blue fluid goes back inside the cassette, give it a little swish around, and then push it all the way back home until the little orange handle clips over. And that's it. And the last thing is your freshwater filling point. So you've got a little lock just there on the front of it. So you unlock it and twist it open, and that'll then allow you to fill up your fresh tank. So really, really simple. Freshwater filling point just there. The last thing on the outside is just going to be showing you under the bonnet. So this is your typical Ford, I think it's a 2.4 turbo diesel engine. Super reliable. This has got 24,000 miles on the clock, so it's barely running for what it is. So on the left-hand side, we have got your brake fluid just here in this reservoir at the top, attached to the servo behind it, obviously. Your power steering fluid in this reservoir here at the front, you can see it's just at the perfect level just there. Your engine oil filling point is this one just up here, so it has, it's sort of extended up to the top there, so you haven't got to reach down so far. Air filter sits inside this box just at the top of the engine, and your engine oil dipstick is this little yellow topped one down here at the front. You have got a couple of chassis plates on here. So this one on the left is just basically telling you it's a moon dust silver colour. So if you ever need any touch-up paints, that's your colour just there. And this chassis plate just here that says Trigano on it. Trigano is the company that build these vehicles, or they Chausson build them, but Trigano's the bigger company. And so this is basically just information about the vehicle here. Chassis plate, chassis number, and the weights. Over towards the right, we've got your diesel filter at the back, engine coolant here on this reservoir at the top in the corner, and your washer fluid just here. Now you have got air conditioning in this van, as I mentioned, so you've got an air conditioning pipe just here and another one just up here, so they're both really easy to get to. So yeah, there you go. So that's about it really for under the bonnet. So what I'll do is I'll just wander around, just making sure there's nothing else that I've missed out. which I don't think there is. And then I will show you what we've got in the inside. So this is the cover that I was saying about for the boiler vent on the outside. So make sure that you've got that off before you start trying to use the boiler. General layout in this van, so both of these front seats will swivel all the way around to allow you to have this as like a lounge area here in the front. Sorry about the mess at the moment, I've just literally finished the hab check, so that's why it's a little bit of a mess. So huge, great big window up here over the cab, lets in a massive amount of light, as you can imagine. The staining on there is just where I've lubricated the rubber seals, so that'll all be cleaned up, don't worry. So you have got a couple of lights up here, a couple of LEDs along the top, which if you put your hand in here, you'll be able to find the switch just inside there. All right, and you have got various other LED lights all the way around the van as well. So I'm just going to turn a couple of these off for now because I don't actually need them on. Just thought I'd show you. 2 forward-facing seat belts, which is always handy as well, so you can drive legally and properly with 4 people. I have actually also had to replace this skylight just here above our head and the one here in the bathroom. So reason for that, this one just here had a winding mechanism before, and the whole winding mechanism was completely shafted. It wasn't working at all. So tried to get another one, but we couldn't get hold of one, so I had to put one of these ones in. It's exactly the same size, haven't had to cut it out or anything like that. It's all just the same. Difference is that this one opens up by pressing on the button just here and pulling all the way up to the side. All right, so there's your skylight just there, and the one in the bathroom just literally opens up by twisting it like this. Super easy, nothing to it. So yeah, layout, this sort of lounge area in the front, and then as I said, we've got the height adjustable bed at the back. So if you wanted more headroom in the back and you didn't need so much storage underneath in the garage, then you can lower this bed right the way down to make it a lot easier to step up into it, or vice versa, you can lift it all the way up and have a shorter bed. It's completely up to you how you want to do it. More lights in the back just here. This skylight at the back works perfectly, so I obviously haven't replaced that one. And lots of natural light coming in from the windows. So what I'll do is I'll start off with the control panel here. So these are a very, very simple control panel, and it's not going to take long to explain how they work. So we've got a main switch on the top right hand side to turn all of the power on and off. So hold it to turn it off, hold it to turn it on. We've then got an external light switch if you had an awning light, which I don't think you do at the moment. Water pump, internal lights, freshwater level. So we're in the reserve for the freshwater, which is why this one here is flashing at us, by the way. And both of our battery levels. So leisure battery is at nearly completely full. Vehicle battery is at the same level. And so that is it. That is honestly all there is to the control panel. You've got your freshwater level, both battery levels, and then the rest of them are all just turning things on. The 2 other things that you might see down here, this one here will be on when your engine's running, and this one here is on when your electric hookup is plugged in. So it's just basically telling you that those 2 things are working, essentially. All right, so that's it. That's the control panel. Nothing more to it than that. So, kitchen area, we've got your 3-burner hob at the top. Now you will need some sort of an ignition to light any one of these 3 burners up, because they don't have their own individual ignition. As part of the hab check, we have to go through and check every single gas appliance in this van. So that's the fridge, the boiler, this, and the oven up here as well, and make sure that everything is gas tight and burning properly. So these are all good, nothing wrong with them whatsoever. Below that, we've got your 3-way fridge. So I'll just open this up so you can see properly. Now, on the hab check, I found that the hinges for this freezer door were broken, so I've replaced those as well. And but the fridge itself works really, really, really nicely. It gets nice and cold and works as you would expect. So on these fridges, you have got 3 different options. You've got gas, which, as you probably heard there on the video, lights up by itself, and you haven't got to do anything else with it. All you need to do is set your temperature on the right. So that's how you would use it on the gas. Next one is our mains. So the mains doesn't give us any light at all because the hookup is not plugged in. So that is when you're hooked up on the mains only. And the last one is our 12-volt option, which also isn't lighting up, and that's because the engine isn't running. So the 12-volt option here is literally for when you're driving only. It won't do anything at all unless the engine's running. And all it really does is it holds the temperature inside the fridge as you're on the move. So you need to make sure that you pre-cool the fridge either on the gas or on the mains first before you leave, and then switch over to the 12-volt just for when you're on the road. When you get to where you're going, switch back to one of the other two, whichever one you've got accessible, and that's it. That's how you would use the fridge. Nothing more to it than that. I'll just leave that on for a little bit again, just to sort of doubly check it. Now with the water side of things, so your boiler and the water system, there is a little bit more to them than you might expect if you haven't used one of these before. So with a motorhome and a caravan and most things like that really, you've got sort of two separate systems, if you like. So the way that I like to explain it is that you've got a cold water system and a hot water system. So the cold water system literally just runs through the pump from the tank and then straight to the tap. So it just comes straight from the tank to the tap. So that's easy. You know, that you're not going to have any problems with that. As long as you've got water in the tank, you'll have water coming through the taps. The difference with the hot water side of things is that you've got the boiler is in the way before the taps, if that makes sense. So for the hot side of the system, and if you try and draw hot water through the tap, unless the boiler is completely full up, you will not get water coming through the tap. So the reason for that is, if the boiler is not completely full, there's a certain amount of air inside that 10-litre tank, which is the boiler, okay? And because the water has to run through the boiler first in order to get to the tap, it has to fill it up. It will fill itself up, basically, before it comes through to the tap. So that is a fail-safe way of double-checking that the boiler is definitely full and you can go ahead and use it. So, long story short, what I'm trying to say is probably the most important thing to do in the van or any motorhome is to make sure that the boiler's full of water before you start trying to use it. If you try and light the boiler up on gas without filling the boiler up, you're going to overheat it and probably have to buy a new boiler. So really important to make sure that the boiler is definitely full before you start trying to use it. So the point of my story was, in order to make sure that the boiler is definitely full, lift the tap up on the hot side and just make sure that there's no air coughing and spluttering out at you. So I can see there straight away, I'm quite happy with that pressure. Just a little bit of air coming out now. And then I'll turn it off. Now the other thing to look for is that when you turn the tap off, the pump should run on for a few seconds to get itself back up to pressure and then turn itself off. If that happens, if your pump runs on for a few seconds and turns itself off and stays off, it means that you're completely up to pressure and there's no leaks anywhere as well. Okay, so that is a really important thing to do and a nice and simple way of double checking that the boiler's full up. I've got a bit of a bad knee at the moment, so it's going to be a bit awkward, but we've got some storage space under here. Storage space under here as well. So I'm going to take a guess that we've got a boiler drain down here. Nope, that was a terrible guess. Pop that back down properly in a minute. So the boiler drain will be somewhere in the vehicle, which I have not seen just yet. So it's probably in the garage, or it will be accessible through in here. I think it's probably in the garage. But anyway, there will be a small little boiler drain off point, which is like a little yellow tab somewhere. And basically, if you want to winterize the vehicle, you need to make sure that you lift that drain up so that it drains the water out from inside the boiler. So in this particular case, because you've got the manual drain, you shouldn't have air in the boiler unless you've drained it out yourself. So just keep your eye out for that, and basically just, if you want to drain out the boiler, lift the tab up. If you want to leave it as it is, leave it as it is. Simples. So I'll put these bits away now. This has a little cover just here that you have to sit over these bits at the bottom. Right, so the boiler itself, whilst we're on that topic, before I forget, the actual way to use the boiler is this little switch down here that says Truma boiler on it. So it doesn't get much easier than that. And basically, to turn it on, we've got up is 50 degrees or down is 70 degrees. So it just depends how hot you want the water. I will say, just a little tip, the hotter you get the water, the longer it will last you, because you have to use less of it as a mixture between that and the cold water. You will find that when you go camping that, you know, 10 litres of hot water does not go very far. So I would recommend, if you are going to have like 1 or 2 showers, probably best to go down for the 70 degrees. And as I say, it will just last you a bit longer. So, bathroom is probably the next thing. So you've got a little switch just down here for turning all of your lights on and off from there. The shower head does come all the way out like so to meet up with the shower hose or the shower riser. The toilet itself is normally the only part that I actually explain, because it's, you know, the rest of it's just pretty self-explanatory really. You've got a button at the back, a little blue button, which when I press, you'll see the water comes around as your flush fluid. So once that's pumped around, you can go to the toilet, and then when you want to drain it out into the cassette, you push this little handle here to the right. That then opens up the flap just there, and then you want to pull it back again. And that is your toilet used. And it just, you know, takes no time at all. It's nice and easy. The reason, by the way, that you have to pull the flap back again is because if you leave it open, 2 things. 1, all of the smells from inside the cassette will come back up inside the van, which obviously you don't want. And 2, you won't be able to take the cassette out from outside because it'll be locked in position. So, I'll just turn the lights off and pull this across. So pull this across, like so, and that is separated. Now, the last appliance that I need to explain to you is the diesel heater. Okay, so the diesel heater is, this is an e-dispatcher diesel heater. Now, basically, e-dispatcher, they make various diesel heaters. I think the majority of what they do is for boats, but they do overnight heaters for the lorries, all the heaters in here a lot of the time for the motorhomes, especially the Chaussons as well. They do tend to like to use these. So this would have been fitted from new. All right. So basically, you have got 2 options. You've got a button at the bottom, which will give you a blue light, which is just pumping around cool air. Basically, it just pumps around cold air. And when I say pumps around, I mean through any of these little vents just here. Okay, so that is your cool air option on the heater. Press the little button in the middle to turn it off, and as long as there's no light at the bottom or at the top, it means that the diesel heater is off. If you want the heating to come on, you press the top button and you'll get a red light, and then all you need to do is select your power. And that is it. That is honestly all you have to do to get the heating to work. Now, as long as you've got some fuel in the fuel tank, about 1/4 of a tank or above, the heating will work. And that's it. That is honestly all you have to do. Turn it off again by pressing that button. No light top and bottom, so the diesel heater is off. I will also just mention, just in case you ever wonder, the diesel heater will continue to run, or at least the fan will continue to run for a good few minutes after you turn it off if you've had it on for a little while. It's cooling itself down, basically. It will go off again as long as there's no lights on the front. So that is all the appliances. I'm just going to have a little look in the garage, see if I can remember where the drain off point. There we go. I knew it was under a hatch somewhere. So in here in the garage, this little yellow tab is the one that I was talking about. That's your boiler drain off point. So if you want to drain the boiler out, lift the tab upright. If you want the water to stay inside of it, just leave it as it is now. And so that's how you would winterize the van, basically. Just lift up that tab and yeah, just drain all the water out, basically. That's it. So, well, I say that's it. There are more things that you can do, but it's, you know, it'd take a bit too long to go into in this video. I have actually got a video on this channel of how to completely winterize your van, so if you wanted to watch that, you can do. You've got a fair few bits and pieces in the back here, by the way, that the previous owners left behind. None of it is stuff that we've tested. This is all just stuff that you can have a play with if you want to. So yeah, have a little look through that if you want to, but there you go. So hopefully I have covered everything. I don't think I've missed anything out, but if I have, and you want anything going over again, just let us know. But otherwise, I look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks very much.